ChatGPT or Claude? This is the question I get asked more than almost anything else. Which AI tool should I use? What's the difference? Which one is better for coaching? Most coaches pick one and stick with it without ever knowing what the other one does better. They heard about ChatGPT first, so they used ChatGPT. Or someone mentioned Claude, so they tried Claude. But they've never actually compared them for the specific tasks coaches need to do. Here's the thing, both tools are good, both are genuinely useful for coaching, but they're good at different things. They have different strengths and weaknesses, and knowing when to use each one will save you time and get you better results. In this video, I'll show you exactly when to use ChatGPT and when to use Claude with real football coaching examples. By the end, you'll know which tool to open for which job. No more guessing, no more using the wrong tool for the task. And I've put together a comparison guide with this breakdown plus specific prompts that work best in each tool. It's free inside AI Football School. Link in the description. Let's start with some quick background on what these tools actually are. ChatGPT is made by a company called OpenAI. It launched in late 2022 and quickly became the most popular AI chatbot in the world. When most people think of AI chat, they think of ChatGPT. It's the one everyone knows. Claude is made by a company called Anthropic. It's less well known than ChatGPT, but it's increasingly popular with people who use AI seriously for work. Anthropic was founded by former OpenAI researchers, so there's some shared DNA, but the tools have evolved differently. Both are what we call large language models. They've been trained on massive amounts of text and can write, analyze, plan, explain, and help with all sorts of tasks. For coaching purposes, both can help with session planning, player feedback, tactical analysis, parent communication, and more. The free versions of both are genuinely useful. You can do a lot without paying anything. The paid versions, which are about £16 to £20 per month, depending on which plan you choose, give you access to more powerful models, longer conversations, and extra features. I use both tools regularly. I've used them for hundreds of coaching tasks over the past couple of years, and I've noticed clear patterns in what each one does better. Let me start with ChatGPT's strengths. Strength number one, quick, practical tasks. When you need something fast and functional, ChatGPT is excellent. Need a session plan, a quick email to parents, a list of warm up ideas, 10 progressions for an activity? ChatGPT delivers quickly and practically. It doesn't overthink things, it doesn't add unnecessary context or caveats. It just gives you what you asked for in a usable format. For example, if I type, give me 10 fun warm up games for U10s that don't need any equipment, ChatGPT will rattle off 10 games with brief descriptions almost instantly. Clean, practical, done. Strength number two, following specific formatting instructions. ChatGPT is very good at following detailed formatting requirements. If you say, give me this as a table with columns for activity name, duration, setup, and coaching points, it does exactly that. If you want bullet points, you get bullet points. If you want numbered lists, you get numbered lists. If you want a specific structure for a session plan, it follows that structure. This matters because output you can use immediately is more valuable than output you have to reformat. ChatGPT consistently delivers in the format you specify. Now, let me show you a real example of ChatGPT in action. I'll type, create a 60-minute session on pressing triggers for U14 format as a table with columns for activity, duration, setup, and coaching points. Watch how quickly it generates this. Within seconds, I have a complete table with a warm-up, technical practice, game-related practice, and SSG, all properly formatted with clear coaching points. That's ChatGPT at its best. Fast, practical, well-formatted output for straightforward tasks. Now let's talk about Claude's strengths. Strength number one, longer, more thoughtful responses. When you need something nuanced, something that requires careful thinking and detailed explanation, Claude tends to be better. A detailed player report where you need to capture development over a whole season. A parent email that requires careful wording because the situation is sensitive. A season philosophy document that needs to explain your approach coherently. A tactical analysis that needs to consider multiple factors. Claude takes more time with these responses. It considers different angles. The output often feels more considered and complete. For example, If I ask Claude for help with a difficult parent conversation about why their child isn't starting, the response will typically address the emotional aspects, suggest specific phrases that balance honesty with empathy, and anticipate follow up questions the parent might have. ChatGPT tends to give you a solid response, Claude tends to give you a thoughtful one. Strength number two, understanding and maintaining context. Claude is better at holding context across a long conversation. If you're building something over multiple messages, going back and forth, refining and developing an idea, Claude tracks what you've said better. This matters when you're doing something complex. Say you're creating a 4 week training block. You start with the overall theme, then you develop week one in detail, then you ask for week two to build on week one. Claude remembers the details of what you discussed earlier and builds on them coherently. ChatGPT sometimes seems to forget or lose track of earlier context, especially in longer conversations. For extended iterative work, Claude is more reliable. Strength number three, writing quality. Claude's writing often feels more natural, less robotic, more like how an actual person would write. This matters for anything that someone else is going to read. Player feedback for parents, emails, reports, communication to the club. If it needs to sound human and professional, Claude usually needs less editing to get there. I've noticed that ChatGPT often has a certain AI voice that's recognizable once you've seen enough AI generated content. Claude's output blends in better with human writing. Let me show you a real example of Claude in action. I'll type, write feedback for a U14 midfielder who's talented but has been struggling with confidence after being dropped. This is for parents to read. Be encouraging but honest about areas to develop. Watch how Claude handles this. The response addresses the confidence issue sensitively, acknowledges the talent, frames the development areas as opportunities rather than criticisms, and ends with genuine encouragement. It feels like something a thoughtful coach would actually write, not something an AI generated. Now, let me show you a head to head comparison. I'm going to give the same prompts to both tools and show you the differences. I'll give both tools this prompt. Create a 75-minute session on switching play for U13 boys. Include warm up, technical, game related, and SSG. Let's see what happens. Chat GPT gives me a complete session quickly. It's well structured, the activities make sense, the coaching points are practical. Claude also gives me a complete session. It takes slightly longer, but adds more context about why each activity links to the overall theme, and the coaching points are more detailed. Both produce usable sessions. ChatGPT is slightly faster. Claude adds more educational context. For a quick session plan, use whichever you have open. For something you want to understand deeply, Claude might edge it. Player feedback. I'll give both tools this prompt. Write end of season feedback for a U14 centre back. Strengths, reads the game well, strong in the air, development area, distribution under pressure. ChatGPT gives me solid professional feedback. 3 paragraphs, covers the strengths well, addresses the development area constructively. Claude's version reads more naturally. The sentences flow better. It sounds more like how I would actually write. The development area is framed more sensitively. Claude edges it for writing quality. If you need feedback that parents will read and you want it to sound genuine, Claude is probably better. Tactical analysis. I'll ask both tools. Analyze why a 4-3-3 might struggle against a team that plays a low block with 5 at the back. What tactical adjustments could help? ChatGPT gives me a clear analysis with several tactical solutions: width, patience, overloads, long shots, set pieces. Claude gives me a more detailed analysis that considers multiple scenarios. It explores why the low block works, what the 4-3-3's inherent strengths and weaknesses are against it, and then suggests adjustments with more context about trade offs. ChatGPT for a quick tactical answer. Claude for deeper analysis that helps you actually understand the problem. Quick ideas. I'll ask both tools. Give me 10 fun warm up games for U10s. ChatGPT rattles these off almost instantly. 10 games, brief descriptions, done. Claude also gives me 10 games, but adds extra context about each one, when to use it, what it develops. It takes longer, and the extra context isn't always needed. ChatGPT wins for speed when you just need a quick list. I'll ask both tools. Help me write a message to parents explaining why we're not publishing league tables for our U11 team this season. ChatGPT gives me a professional message that explains the development focus clearly. Claude's message anticipates potential objections, addresses them empathetically, and frames the whole thing in terms of what's best for the children rather than what the club has decided. Claude is better for communication that needs to persuade or handle potential disagreement. So here's my recommendation based on all of this. Use ChatGPT for quick session plans, lists of ideas and activities, anything that needs plugins like images, web browsing, or data analysis, voice conversations when you want to talk through ideas, and straightforward tasks where speed matters. Use Claude for player reports and detailed feedback, parent communications, especially sensitive ones, anything that needs nuanced writing, long planning conversations where context matters, and situations requiring emotional intelligence. Use either for general coaching questions, tactical discussions, and most everyday tasks. The honest truth, for 80% of coaching tasks, both tools will give you good results. The tool matters less than how you use it. A good prompt in either tool beats a bad prompt in the better tool. Start with one, get comfortable with it, learn how to prompt effectively, then try the other one for specific tasks and see if you notice the difference. Don't overthink this. Pick one, use it, and learn as you go. Now, let me quickly mention Football GPT because it's different from both. ChatGPT and Claude are general purpose AI tools. They know about everything: cooking, coding, history, science, football. When you ask them about football, they're drawing on general knowledge and trying to apply it to your situation. Football GPT is built specifically for football. I built it. It's trained on coaching resources, understands age appropriate progressions, knows football terminology, and has context about how youth football actually works. For football specific tasks, Football GPT often gives better output with less prompting because it already has the football context built in. You don't have to explain what grassroots means or what age appropriate looks like for U12. It knows it's not a replacement for ChatGPT or Claude, it's a specialist tool, like having a football specific assistant alongside your general assistants. If you're doing a lot of football coaching work with AI, Football GPT might be worth trying. Link in the description. You get a few free questions per day to try it out. A few final tips before we wrap up. Tip one, you can use conversations from one tool in another. If Claude gives you great feedback, but you want ChatGPT to format it into a table, you can copy the content across. Use each tool for what it does best. Tip two, both tools get better with good prompts. I've covered prompt engineering in another video, but the short version is give context, be specific, specify format, and iterate. Both ChatGPT and Claude respond well to detailed, well structured prompts. Tip three, the paid versions are worth it if you use AI regularly. The free versions have limitations on usage and model quality. If you're using AI several times a week for coaching, the paid version pays for itself in time saved. Tip four, both tools are improving constantly. What I've told you today is accurate as of when I'm recording this, but both OpenAI and Anthropic release updates regularly. The capabilities change. Keep experimenting. That's ChatGPT versus Claude for football coaches. Both are useful. Both are free to start. Try both. See which feels better for your work and use the right tool for the job. I've made a comparison guide with everything I've covered here, plus specific prompts that work better in each tool. It's free inside AI Football School. Link in the description. Join the community, go to the Prompts and Resources classroom, and download the AI tool comparison guide. If you found this helpful, subscribe. I'm posting more AI for football content every week. See you in the next one.